Hello there, I'm Ade Ronquette, and welcome to the Grad Connect, where we're using our career insights to help professionals find fulfillment. Today, I am joined by Munira Spiller. She is an educator, and with over a decade of experience, I think she's finally come to realize that she's a nurturer at heart, even though working in the school system is a little difficult at times. She is constantly finding ways to level up professionally and personally, which makes her the perfect candidate for today's discussion. Let's jump right into it. So please help me welcome Munira Spiller. Okay, so Munira, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that we're doing this, sitting down and talking.
Yeah.
It really is nothing different than what we do all the time.
All the time. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It has been a while, though.
It's been a while.
Life was lifing. But I am happy that we're getting the chance to do this. And I want to start by saying, first off, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you was just because thinking back to, really the whole reason why this concept of the Grad Connect even started, I feel like we were right there together, literally figuring it out, like those Louisiana days, like, okay, so what we gonna do? So I knew I wanted to talk about you, and just being there firsthand and seeing your journey, I think so many people are gonna be inspired. So.
Okay. So this is not about your journey, it's all about my journey.
It's all about you.
I was like, we were journeying together.
Tomato, we gonna get there.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to talk about is, let's just dive right in.
Okay, I'm ready.
Where are we now? Let's start. Tell us where you are now, what you're up to, what's life like?
So I taught in the classroom, various grades, elementary, for 9 years.
Okay.
This is my 10th year in education, and I'm now a middle school instructional coach. So my job is to basically develop and teach the teachers.
Okay.
But life is hard in public school. And so it's turned into me honestly teaching at least once a week. So at this point, I am getting experience teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, which I never wanted to do.
Even though it's not your title.
It is not my title. Let's start with that. But I'm trying to just receive and be open to like what God is doing, because I'm actually back at I've worked at 3 schools total, so I'm back at the 2nd school.
Okay.
But it's funny because like I'm here 5 years later. Yeah. And now I'm an instructional coach, so I have some familiarity with the families, and the 6th grade class is my first class I taught in 1st grade at this school.
Well, that was nice.
And it's actually one of the classes. I do teach 2 classes every single day, and they're one of the classes I actually teach every single day.
Okay.
And so that's a joy. I'm like, okay, God, what you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm supposed to be an instructional coach, and just for various factors, just like we were just short-staffed. It's just a lot of things happening, but it's just hard. It's just hard in school. It seems like professionalism and development of teachers has just shifted from where I started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to find people to work, and it's really hard to find quality workers, to be honest. It's just teachers. Where we are. And I don't know if that's happened since the pandemic. Nevertheless, I'm an instructional coach, but I've spent a lot of time actually covering classes, teaching 6th, 7th, 8th grade teacher, which has me considering getting certified in middle school, because I am certified in lower elementary and self-contained, like 5 to 8. But yeah.
Wow. That is a breaking news.
That's
surprise! That is not what I heard last time. But that's great. So this is interesting, because now you are doing something different within the field that you started in. But take me back to, let's take it all the way back. Right? Okay. Let's take it back to when you first got started here in this teaching game. Really take us back to one day after graduation from undergrad. And what kind of mind state was Munira in? What was she considering? What were you looking to do?
So I graduated U of M, women's studies major in sociology major, and 3 years prior wanted to be a doctor. Almost failed out of school, literally.
Did everybody want to be a doctor? Because
I mean, I don't know, but
what was treatment at a point?
Had Michigan not been weeding folks out, I would not be in the public school system.
Wow.
But like, it was literally bad. Like, my mom was like, "Okay, girl, maybe we need to transfer schools." Like, and it was just like, no, like I want to stay. And so
how many years did you go down the doctor path?
Oh, girl, just 1 year. Because had I pursued it another year, like I literally would have. They would have been like, "You're dismissed."
Wow.
Like, and it was clearly just wasn't meant to be. Like, I'm talking about, I'm in study groups.
Yeah.
I'm studying. I'm in the library until 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I just literally was having a hard time passing the chemistry, the biology, things I was thriving in at Cass.
Okay.
But I mean, clearly these are just weed out courses.
So there was a point where you actually cared for science and loved
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think for me, because people you can get, it was just like, I'm not on the perseverance train, and we not finna invest another year of flunking some more to like make this happen. We can just pivot. And one of my classes was sociology, the study people, love to read and discuss. Let's just stick to it. Let's keep it pushing.
Okay. So at what point, Munira, did that switch hit for you? Like, was it like, all right, you got that warning letter? Or, because it's a lot to walk away from what you thought you would do. So was it just the grades that was like, all right, not going to do it?
I think just after like 2 semesters, it's like, no, like me and my mom were really like, okay, girl, something's just not working, and let's just find something else.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's just find something else, because clearly this ain't it, and we can come back to this if I want to, but it's not working, so let's pivot.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fair. So you pivoted, and then you were in sociology.
Yep, just loving to read and talk. And fast forward, one of my student orgs, a girl named Danielle, shout out to Danielle if you're watching.
Hey, Danielle.
She's a few years older than me, but she did City Year.
Okay.
She might have did City Year Chicago, but nevertheless, City Year is an AmeriCorps, a national AmeriCorps program. So they have locations all over the country.
Okay.
And I remember her coming back, sharing, we kept in touch, and she suggested it to me. I just wanted to live in New Orleans so bad. Like, that had just been a dream of mine as a little girl. Okay. My mom, we would travel yearly. Okay. And long story short, in like 1998, my godmother's a Delta. They have a national convention. Convention like every other year. And me and the family, we all went and we spent the week there, and I was like, I love it here. Like, hot weather. It was like, I want to live here one day. And so fast forward, preparing, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just wanted to live in New Orleans. Gotcha. And I wanted to serve. Okay. I feel like back then in like 2013, 2014, gap years to me, I feel like we're kind of new, like a new thing. And so I was like, well, this gives me some time. I know a lot of people went the TFA route, a 2-year commitment. So what I loved about City Year was that it's just strictly 10 months. Okay. Strictly 10 months. I found they had a New Orleans, went ahead and applied. They were like, New Orleans is full, but you can go to Baton Rouge. I said, well, how far is that from New Orleans? Like, you're missing the point, lady. I'm trying to be in New Orleans.
I'm trying to be bourbon girl.
And so clearly I said yes. I don't think I communicated any of this very well to my mother, because I remember some contention with that, and just questions I didn't have answers for. Like, how was you gonna get there? I didn't have a car at the time. I don't even think I had my license at the time.
Wow. And this was senior year.
Yeah. Yep. And so it's an educational nonprofit. Basically, long story short, that's where I get there, and they're constantly connecting you with the big time educational people. And with that, I am divinely met with a guy from Detroit, Cass Tech alum, University of Michigan alum, big time education. At the time, he was the assistant superintendent for East Baton Rouge Public Schools. Okay. He gives us a speech. my friends are like, oh my gosh, Munira, because of course everybody knows where you from. Like everybody's from all over. They're like, you from Detroit, Moon? Like you should meet them. And so this man had gave a speech, and so when they came back, they were like, oh my gosh, you should have met him. And I'm just like, oh well, whatever. Long story short, City Year has you very like hands on the ground, boots on the ground. Like you're really in the community serving. Like you have to serve like 1,800 hours. 10 months.
So you're serving in the community as well as in the schools?
Correct. Like everybody's partnered. You're paired. It maybe City Year works with X amount of schools, and within that school you have a manager, and then the breakdown is that everybody's actually paired with a teacher.
Okay.
And so you're in the teacher offering classroom support, but each of us based on data has like a roster of kids kind of in the middle, and your job is to actually create lessons and give them like intervention to hopefully push them forward into the green.
Okay.
And outside of that, you're doing after school programs in the school, and then you're doing even more community service after work. When I say like you're working like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., making $700 a month.
Because I was going to say,
girl, you're living on a stipend.
Okay, a stipend. Do they cover anything else?
Oh, no, I was like on food stamps. Like people didn't have cars and we're carpooling. Like you have to do like research. Like they're connecting with everybody. Like I was living with 3 other girls, had never met them.
Okay.
But yeah, I had the car because my mother, after everything came out, she went ahead and gave me her car. We had a time. She gave me her car, and she actually bought a new one.
Okay, that's good.
Grateful, and I still have the car today.
Nice.
And so, like, I would pick up some of my friends on our way to work, and we would go to work. Like, that's just what it was. It's like we're all surviving and figuring life out together. And I also liked it because we're all around similar ages. So, it's to be in City, you have to be ages 18 to 25.
Okay.
And it might be lower than 20, but either 18 to like 20, low 20s.
Okay.
For sure.
Do you have to be, is it only for people who graduated? Like you have to have your degree?
That's a good question. Well, no, because you can do it at 18. So maybe you just need a high school diploma, GED. But yeah, I love that. Like we were all figuring out together. So long story short, we also have to you have to go to school board meetings. So I ended up meeting the assistant superintendent.
So you were a teacher and a community liaison in one. Wow.
So basically, I went to a school board meeting sometime later, and I was like, that's the guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I think at the time, University of Michigan used to have M planners. I keep looking for them. Nevertheless, it was like,
Give her a
I've stopped calling. Like ever since the pandemic, I can't find one. But I used to still buy one every year after I graduated, and would map my life out. He noticed the planner, and that's how we started talking. Wow. Developed a relationship. He tells everybody in central office I'm his goddaughter. He really took me under his wing. Ooh. And when my 10 months was ending, I just wanted to volunteer some more. Still had no type of plan of like a career. And I was asking him for suggestions, and he was like, how about teaching? And I was like, no.
So he said, no. So this clear, as much as we could say divine connection. Yeah. Right? I feel like, hey, if anything this is a great example. Yeah. So despite all of that, he said, what about teaching? You said no. Why did you say no, Munira? What was it about teaching that had you turned off? Tell us.
Nobody wants to do it. My mother, I still don't want to do it. Like, it's hard. But my mother is a retired DPS teacher, like over 30 years. Okay. And I mean, I think, people just assume, like, you're going to be right behind your mom. It's like, no, actually, I'm going to be a pediatrician. Like, watch yourself. It just was never the thing. Like, some kids, maybe like when I was like in first grade, we want to play school, but like, no, leave me alone. Like, I just don't want to do this.
See, I played school. When I was a kid, I used to ask for like chalkboard and chalk and like for Christmas. And I would because I thought it was cool, but I never was like, I want to be a teacher.
Gotcha.
And I get it. It's like, I don't necessarily want to do what my parents did. Some people are like that. I never.
I just don't want to, I'm just not interested.
And did you have a person, because I know for me, like when I would come home, it's like, I always felt like my parents' work was like a little boring. And so, I mean, what did you think? Did you think like, she a teacher?
I don't think I had any thoughts about the profession. I think it was just like, I'm just not interested in just doing what my mama did.
Okay. So
and it just was that simple for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, she a teacher. Okay, good for you, girl.
Mm-hmm. I just never rung your bell. That's fine.
Yeah.
So he says, okay, think about teaching. You say no.
He knew I believed in Christ, and that's how he kind of pulled me in. He was like, you should pray on it. And I was like,
they always get you with that.
not fair. So clearly I pray. Clearly I tell him yes. He tells me what to do. I basically had a very short window because now it's like April, maybe even May, like 2015.
Okay.
So basically I had to quickly take a test to enter into an alternative certification program. I do that. Everybody in Louisiana is like, the test is hard. Nobody passes. You're not going to pass on the first time. And I just was like, I mean, whatever. Literally studied a month. That's really like all I remember. Passed it on the first time. And I just was like, well, amen. You know, I don't know if this not the normal, like, again, like this must be nothing but God.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even interested. I'm just kind of really following your steps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a plan. I'm open to whatever the plan is. But if this is what you're presenting, then fine.
So then this is my thing though. If you felt, so I know for me, especially when it comes to work, if I don't want to do a job, like if I don't feel like, I can work in the job, it's probably nothing that's going to make me do it. But obviously, if you feel that call from God and you feel like you pray about it and God is saying like, okay, you need to do this, how do you settle that within yourself, knowing that, I mean, did you have any other aspirations at the time? Or was it just like, I don't have nothing to do anyway, let me be
if we're being really truthful, I wanted to work for Citier again.
Okay.
Because you're getting a stipend, but at the end of the program, you get $5,000 to put towards your loans.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just
trying to rack it up.
Yeah, like, all right, girl,
But
if you do
got
this,
the 5 once.
right? So I'm like, if you do the program 2 years,
That's
you can
10.
get the 10,000. But the thing about it was that to do it again, you had to be a leader. You know,
She's not a leader?
Imagine Munira.
She's not a leader? What?
Imagine Munira in 2014, 15. I don't really care for politics. I still don't. Long story short, went for the job. Some things had happened throughout my year with City Year. The cohort feels that I should have got the job. With politics, I didn't get the job.
Got it. Okay. So funny business.
And so I think even more, it was just like, okay, well, clearly we shouldn't, like this just isn't for you. But I think the blessing for me at the time, I go from making $700 and living on food stamps to now I'm making $44,000 a year. And that
big jump.
Yeah. And in my mind, teachers at that time in Detroit, to be honest, was making 30,000, 35,000, first year. And so I remember going to central office and her be like, all right, your salary is 44,000. I said, huh? I really thought I was like, you made a mistake somewhere. And she was like, no. And so that was life-changing, and that led me to make some other financial decisions that weren't the greatest. But to me, it just was like, clearly this was the blessing.
Yeah. And so obviously you come from U of M. It's people walking out of there with $1 million salaries. Just exaggerating. But just knowing the financial trajectory of teachers, and it's widely discussed all around the nation. The wages, the pay for teachers are not the most glamorous. So when you're entering this field, was that something on your mind? Like, okay, I have aspirations to be very, very wealthy and well off, and I'm starting with this field that's not technically the most lucrative. Was there any concern for that?
No, at that time, it's like, you're 23 now. you're making $44,000. You were just making basically like what?
It's a lot for a 23-year-old. Yeah, with
I don't even know, $2,300 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was my perspective of just like, oh, well, we good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And like, even to give like numbers on like rent was well under $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was fine, but I didn't know about leases and things. So me being excited with my new lifestyle, I signed a lease. Then it break the lease.
No.
So I was paying
You did what?
So just, life happens when you're 23, 24, and you just don't know what you don't know. But yeah, so at that point in time, the money was fine.
Okay.
But living in Louisiana, you learn a lot. So basically, I became a brand ambassador, and I would get jobs off of Craigslist, which was safe because it was brand ambassador jobs. It was safe.
Don't do that.
And so I used to hustle because they basically have festivals year round. But up here, our festival season is summer.
Yeah, it's summertime.
So it was kind of cool. I'm making like $30 an hour working for Ford. You know how like you got to a festival and they're just trying to get you to sign up for a contest?
Yeah.
I'm doing this for 3 weeks every year at the Louisiana State Fair, the Baton Rouge Fair, because once you get the jobs, like the recruiters kind of contact you every year.
Yeah.
And so that was another way I would make money.
And you were really instrumental because when I came down and I was looking for...
I got the hustle.
And I was looking for, and we were both Santa's little helper for like a season.
I probably did that, yeah, and I did that for a few years.
Yeah, and it was interesting, but it definitely closed the gap.
Yeah,
when it was needed.
It's money to be made. I think that's even another thing. Like me and my friend Courtney, you've met Court. You know. It's money to be made, but you definitely have to have the mental fortitude and just a determination that I'm not too good to do something. Like I've literally done everything but honestly be a stripper, and I was cool with that. I just didn't have the body for it. But if I could put a mask on my face and get to dancing, I would have did it.
You just said Jesus was your teacher. You would tell me?
I mean...
What would you have said about you stripping?
Would have led me to the dollars to pay the bills.
No.
Because we're closing this gap.
Oh, my gosh. No.
However, but again, I was just... As time went on, I just wanted to do more. But it's just that different... It's just you're exposed to so much living down south. It's
it's a beautiful place.
The world is yours. Like you can go to Texas, you can go to Florida, and so me and my friends, we were just constantly traveling. And just like you just need money for extra things, and that's where the extra jobs was like this comes in handy.
Also, the mid-20s and that time where you're just post-grad is actually just probably the biggest exploratory season. And it's like you really are learning for the first time what independence feels like.
That's true.
Because it's like college is independent.
But you're like in this bubble.
You're in the bubble.
How I explain it.
If, there's campus police, there's all these things, but it's like once you're post-grad, you're living by yourself, you're in another state. At 23, it's like, go to Texas, go to Atlanta, go here. Like your eyes are open. So what do they call it? What a time to be alive?
Yeah, and seriously, like I often want to go back to those moments, but I'm also just grateful for college and me just jet setting right after I graduated, because you're right. Like that window, I would say your entire 20s. Yeah. I'm exploring. I'm doing whatever. Yeah. I'm going wherever. Like me and Court would jump in a car and drive to North Carolina. Like it just was like you had no limits. Yeah. You had no limits. It was nothing to be like, okay, well I can make this money right back this weekend. No kids. No, you just have no reason and nobody to think about but yourself. And as you get older, clearly other factors just become a play. Yeah. And just hinder your freedom of wanting to do things.
Yeah. And I think like the 20s is such a sweet spot because you have this newly increased, you have maximum freedom and you're earning.
Yeah.
Whereas as you get older, you have maximum earning, but your freedom is a little bit hampered because we have more responsibilities as we get older.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I'm like, dang, I should have drove to Asia. Look, when I like in those 20s, I mean, there's still time.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the crazy part is that even like now into my 30s, it's like I feel like this is a new level of freedom because like I heard somebody say your 30s are just your 20s but with more money, and oh my god. But not only money.
I could use some more. Not now. I could use some more.
I mean, there's money, but of course we could all use more. But I'm just saying, I think you really like once you get older, like you really start to stabilize, and it's not like you're essentially just more secure in your earning. Like no.
So I guess now, if you were to ask,
start a GoFundMe from Munira. We're gonna start a GoFundMe.
I think your teacher question would be relevant as I've gotten older.
Okay.
Because the money was great at 44, you know, but to be 10 years later, and I've been teacher of the year, I've gotten awards. I'm still at low 60s, and now I'm in a ton of debt. You know, I'm in a ton of debt. Now I'm a homeowner.
We gotta talk about it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like you understand. I understand what an emergency is now. You know, in your mid-20s, the emergency was the Beyonce concert. It was the Drake concert. But, you know, again, you're living in an apartment. If anything breaks, I can call the maintenance person.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I understand more. But as you said, like life, there are more responsibilities. But it's like it's hard to get ahead when you're getting slow wage increases.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not even making enough to even pay off anything. Like, I'm making enough to barely just cover the bills, and I'm barely doing that. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm getting frustrated because now it's like, okay, I'm a real adult.
Yeah.
I'm being responsible, maybe slightly irresponsible, but it's like the money is so tight. The little free fun thing I did, like that just took me back. But it's like, God, you know what I'm saying? Like now I feel like I can't do nothing. And I've been feeling stuck like this ever since the pandemic, to be honest. So yes, it's hard now because it's like, just like I said, how hard you work. And then you got people, I don't know, like I've had hard moments of hearing friends, and I'm grateful for my friends and just a different perspective. But I have friends making over 100K. They be talking about, I'm sitting at home, I'm in the bed, you know, and it's just like when life as a teacher, your day starts as soon as you hit the door. Like, and you're working nonstop. Like, you have to ask somebody to come cover your classroom so you can go pee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just like, I'm exhausted. And I'm working nonstop. And it sounds like not all of my friends, but some friends are like, oh, girl, I had one meeting today. Then I had to get my hair done. I'm getting my nails done, but I'm on the clock. And like I try to stay grateful, but you become envious of certain things, of just even the flexibility. You know, like I don't mind taking the money if I have flexibility. Maybe I could increase my business, you know, but it's just like you feel confined and you feel stuck. And I'm feeling like it would be nice to have a partner and to split the bills. Cause like, it's just hard. It's hard as you get older doing things by yourself. And like you said, the responsibilities do increase. Yeah. Yeah.
You're working, you're teaching, you're into it. You're a few years into it at this point.
Yeah.
And now we look at 2025, Munira, and we're thinking about finances. Okay. But you, back in Louisiana, decided to add on a little side hustle. So tell me what it was. You're 3 years into teaching. Of course, there's highs and lows to teaching. Sometimes the kids are irritating. Yeah. What made you feel like, all right, I think I want to try this new thing?
Oh, again, I didn't want to try anything. No. Again, you know, it was eye-opening to just live elsewhere. And at the same time, I'm exposing others and they're exposing their lifestyle to me. So my mother is super healthy. Okay. And now that I'm 32, look, I'm like, girl, how old am I? I'll be 33 in February. And my mother's 74 and will be 75 this summer. And when we have conversations, she talks about habits she developed in her 30s. Okay. So basically, long story short, like we're eating protein, carb, veggie every single meal. Mm-hmm. I'm 5 years old eating salmon and spinach.
Okay.
Hated it. Like there never was no casseroles, no chicken tenders. Like no, we're eating salad, you know? And so fast forward, this is my lifestyle. Basically everybody in Louisiana at my school thinks that I'm overly healthy.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm short, but imagine Munira, just like I said, 24. Mm-hmm. They deemed me as the healthiest person in the building. And so the principal, love her, we still talk, Miss Marshall. She asked if I could start making her lunches. She had a goal. She wanted to lose some weight for Mardi Gras. And she was like...
To put it back on at Mardi Gras. Because that's what happened.
You know, in Mardi Gras, for those that don't know, it's just nothing but balls and festivals. Yeah. And so there are different crews, which are organizations. They host a private ball and a public parade. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to lose some weight to get into her dress. And she asked me months prior to, you know, and I'm like... Girl, what? Yeah. Like, I don't know. And so, I mean, that became into me eventually cooking and preparing lunch, dinner, her waters, snacks, and I love Trader Joe's. And so I would come to school every day with a Trader Joe's bag, and it became, oh, Spiller, what you make today?
Yeah.
And people really are into it. And then I slowly... was like, okay, well, since people are so intrigued, and granted, like, she lost the weight and she was happy and she loved the food and raved over it all the time. And so I started doing like Friday meals. Okay. And then that was life-changing to me because I had people, my coworkers, and we were a tight-knit family at work. Mm-hmm. They were like, Munira, I've never had Brussels sprouts. I've never had asparagus.
Wow, being in Louisiana.
Yeah, you know, and so... it was like, okay, like I'm transforming lives, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so obviously you're doing Meals That Heal, and it's inspired by the health of it all. So I know that you took a little break from Meals That Heal for a second. And so what was that like? Number one, starting out, because so many of us have ideas and we're like, you know, I just think for whatever reason, I want to try this thing. I want to do this thing. And as someone who also is a business owner, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so
I'm tired.
Entering into it, sustaining it, and then making the decision to take a break. What led you through those decisions?
So, you know, went from I'm making meals every Friday at work to eventually I was like, well, let's just try to do the actual meal prep thing. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward to 2019, I was like, let's actually register the business. And so registered it, thought of the name, Meals That Heal. The premise was about actually trying to figure out how to use food to actually heal your body. Okay. And then come home. I feel like I must have stopped it, but long story short, came home summer 2019. 6 months later, the pandemic happens. Mm-hmm. And then there was a need, and I think it might have been Elena, but somebody at church was like, "Hey, girl, I heard you used to cook." Yeah, and I'm like, "Right, used to." And she proposed, and she was like, how about you cook for my family? And I was like, no, leave me alone, girl. Like, no, I'm not. Now I'm a personal chef. No.
So you turned it down.
And she was just like, girl, you can do it. And she was just like, she basically forced me into it. She's like, you're going to try it 1 week. And I was like praying, Lord, for her to hate it. Cooked all her little meals. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we loved it. And I'm like... So here we are, honestly, 5 years later, I still cook for her family. Okay. And that's even been an on and off thing, but like more so on. And still being in the thick of the pandemic. When I was doing that, I was like, well, I guess I should kind of try this meal prep thing again. Mm-hmm. And girl was booming. So I was able to pay off all of my credit cards. And I mean, yes, we got that little check, but I mean, like, that's just how much money I was making on top of the fact I'm living at home. I wasn't paying bills. I think my mother just had me paying like the water bill. But you know, what a time even then to reset yourself, because we couldn't spend our money on anything.
Right.
So luckily for me, that was a time to be a teacher. I still had my job, you know. So
and you were remote for the pandemic.
And even that was cool because I never thought that was a possibility for me as a teacher.
Okay.
I always just wanted some flexibility. I just feel very confined. Like you literally have a 30-minute lunch and then it's work. And so that was cool. I just had the best of both worlds, like business on the weekend. I'm going to the gym every single day. Money was just flowing. It was flowing. I was paying off things. I ended up as a homeowner at the end of the pandemic. But life after the pandemic, to essentially as a teacher going back to the chaos, hustle, bustle before the pandemic, it's like, I'm just exhausted, you know, and I kind of it's like I have this love-hate relationship because I feel like I don't have a life because my weekends are consumed with the business. As a teacher, it's a 24-hour job. That's why I've had my love-hate, but I made a commitment to myself at basically December 2023, it was like, if we bring this business back, I'll commit to it for a year.
Okay. It's been a year.
I did that. Yeah, I only took off 2 weekends last year in 2024.
Okay.
And my prayer was just to be consistent and to have at least 5 to 7 customers. I consistently had that for the most part.
Okay, that's excellent.
God is good. But I'm like, okay, you were consistent. It wasn't the worst. With me being out of the classroom, it's like, okay, hopefully, again, this doesn't have to be the worst, but hopefully with more help, maybe things can just get easier. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Okay. You did.
Okay.
Well, then I guess, but that leads me to ask this then. We've talked now about the highs and lows of teaching, and you've stated the very real cons of teaching. There are pros, but there are cons. So what is it about it that is still, because yet still you report to work and you renew those licenses and now you're thinking about more education. So what is it that's pulling you back to the profession, and why is it worth it despite everything else you just said about teaching?
Again, divine. I feel like God keeps pulling me back. Like I quit my job.
You quit your teaching job?
I quit my teaching job last year. So at the end of 23-24 school year, quit the job. And I was like on the job hunt.
Okay.
And that was...
Again, breaking news.
That was a hard lesson. I wanted to break away. I'm fine with education, but again, I just wanted something flexible. Like there are just so many organizations. Like I actually even applied for City Year. So I was thinking like, we were having those full circle moment. I had a phone screen. It did not go beyond the phone screen.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, what? I think I know what I said to make me not go to the next step.
And please look at the camera and tell us what so the next person doesn't know. You don't have to fully on that.
Yeah, no. So last summer was my first time interviewing outside of a school.
So you're a little rusty.
No, it's a total different. I'm learning. Interviewing is a skill, but like I can close a teacher gig. I can close any position in a school, but like the corporate America life was just a different process. It's like 500 steps. I had to submit this. I had to submit a video. I had a panel. Like, I was just like, oh, this isn't what interviewing is like in interviewing for just any position in school. It's maybe one little interview. And, like, the job is yours, especially with the resume, you know, and so...
And because schools need people.
And that was something that my friends was like, well, girl, you kind of high demand, but also, like, you're clearly qualified. And so I had a hard time selling myself and being able to pull out transferable skills outside of a teacher role.
Gotcha.
And so I wanted a job. I would have been an instructional coach, but like in a regional type of thing, I really wanted that job. Made it to the final cut. Girl, bombed the interview, like crying. I'm a joke. Girl, I was like, Jesus, help
You're
me.
so dramatic.
Oh my god.
Were you crying in the interview?
Absolutely, girl. Oh my gosh. But it was just hard, and it was funny because even that, girl, why is this process 5-6 weeks?
Yeah.
So even that was new. Like I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, we should have a job by August 1st. We did not by August 1st.
Yeah.
And the pressure was on because for me it's like, okay.
You have bills due.
So like I said, again, this is different.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like for schools, they're solidifying their spots April, May, June.
And so, but going back, because you quit your job knowing you didn't have anything specific lined up.
Nope.
And a lot of people are in that place. I've been in that place multiple times. But why did you do that? Number one. And number two, what was the dismount? Like, tell us something. What was the continuation? Like, you just up and quit your job, and you said by August when you want to be employed. And so
I mean, luckily for teachers, for most schools, you get paid throughout the summer.
Yeah.
So I knew, all right, I'm gonna finish the school year.
Yeah.
But like I'm getting paid until the end of August.
Yeah.
So I got money flowing. I'm still cooking. Life is good.
Yeah.
You know.
And so now you're an instructional coach.
Yeah.
How did that come about, that position? And how were you able, what is it about your role as a teacher that qualified you to be that? Because I know so many teachers are dying to get out of the classroom, but they're like, but I still want to be in education.
Yeah.
Essentially your same story, but I imagine that everybody can't be an instructional coach.
Correct.
So what do you think it was about your resume, your work experience that qualified you for that position?
I think just being a really good teacher.
Okay.
I do have my master's. I have a master's in teaching, in the art of teaching. Like, again, I just was rolling with the flow. Based on God lighting my footsteps.
Okay.
I just wanted to be a really good teacher. Like whatever I'm doing, I just want to do it very well.
Yeah, that's important.
And so I know a lot of people are desperate to get out of the classroom. And I think naturally people feel like, I gotta be the assistant principal and I gotta be the principal. Yep, don't want to do that. And like I purposely, for that reason, don't have an ed leadership degree because most teachers take that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And we talked about that's not for you. Learning from City. That's your thing. That's your blessing. And that's okay.
I think I just really want to support. Like I said, I felt so supported at my first school. I want to support and develop teachers. If you ready, like if you just trying to do the bare minimum, okay, you keep doing you.
Right,
And even at my school, you can identify some of those people. You just trying to get by, no problem. But like there are some people, and my dean wants me to put more energy into those people because like they can really go far.
Yeah.
And they want to learn. They just need somebody to teach them.
So for you, this is more like a labor of love, what you're doing right now.
For sure.
In a way of being who you needed or who you had.
For sure, yeah. Like I've invested and bought books that I was given. Like I still have, my principal gave me her personal book that really helped me, and it helped me throughout my years. So yes, I am complaining all the time, especially my boyfriend. He's like, girl. But clearly I feel like even though I don't want to be a teacher, my mom used to say, she's like, I think you secretly like it. Yeah, it comes with a lot of bullshit. Like it's so much nonsense that comes with it, but I love teaching children and seeing the light bulb go off. Like I love being the one to just develop you into a little human. Like I'm not only teaching you academic things, like I'm teaching you life things. And it's interesting going through life in my 20s and actually teaching first and second graders because it's like you're processing like,
okay,
and so
we've been around.
Yeah.
And I want to say that
We've been
for
a lot of places.
for all that we've said, the conclusion at the end of the day is that Munira actually loves her job. So clearly you love it, because I was gonna say like, okay, well, you know, I was gonna ask you like, well, do you love it? But that part is clear. The question is, now considering all the things you once desired, all the things you attempted, all of it, the life that you built for yourself now, or even the just profession, livelihood you built for yourself now, being an instructional coach, Meals That Heal, and all the other ways that you spend your time, have you come to a point of contentment or fulfillment in your career?
I think, have I come to contentment in my career?
This is the quietest you've been all the time.
Yeah, I'm like,
And on that note, no.
I guess for the most part, like, kind of. I'll say somewhat. Because I think, like, I'm excited for the role.
Yeah.
But it's like, in my mind, I haven't fully even stepped into the role because of so many because there's a lack.
Yeah.
And so that piece is frustrating. And I think, again, I love to serve. So I think there is even just like a servitude that I am giving back to the school. And me being back at a school I used to teach at for 3 years, I feel like there is a loyal piece there. And I want to believe this was like a divine opportunity and there's a bigger purpose. But yeah, I mean, 2 things. Like I took a pay cut to go back to this job, but that kind of did something for my spirit, because it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to advance in life and I still feel stuck.
Even with this new role.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, because again, now it's like, okay, well, you got a new job, you're out the classroom, but it's like, not really, because you're in the classroom, you know? So it's like, okay, like, what's really happening here?
Do you feel like if they would have like doubled your salary, for say, do you feel like you would have been like, I have moved forward, I am higher than I have ever been?
Hallelujah.
Would that be moving forward, or is it still something within your career that you're searching for?
I think the money, because I think that would have been like, you're taking a step.
Yeah.
And I think that could have did something, because like I said, to me, it's like, you have these 9 years of teaching, various grades, different states. Great. Now we're up, a step above the teachers.
Yeah.
And the pay is like, okay, great.
Also a step above.
It's a step back, because it's like I'm making less as the instructional coach, and I was making had I stayed in my teacher position.
But on the totem pole, is instructional coach higher than teacher?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the money doesn't matter.
Yeah, the money isn't, and now it's just like, but then it was like, well, that was all I had left because of my timeline. It's like, well, these other 2 jobs didn't work out. This job, clearly God made it appear.
Yeah.
Because even that's a story in that, and I'm grateful for how it even appeared. So I'm actually happy to be back, but it's just like, this isn't what I foresaw. But maybe again, like, who knows? Clearly, I am taken care of, and this whole story, I feel like the theme is like divinity and perfect timing. So clearly, there is a plan, and maybe I need to be more patient with things, because like I have a ton of debt, and I would like to get through that. Like, my goal is to be debt free by the time I'm 35. And like, that means something to me.
And you're on your way, because public service loan forgiveness.
Yeah, so.
Okay, listen.
So I mean, this is something that I learned. So at the school I work for is a for-profit school.
Oh, shoot, we talked about this because I work there too.
Girl, the years don't count. So even that is frustrating. Yeah. Like, I can't, like, it just is like, nah.
It's everywhere.
But
let me say this though, Mo.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even that's frustrating.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'll say that when I've been looking at new roles, I've never been a teacher. But what I'll say is that it's only lately that it's dabbled into my mind, the price of your mental health. So like if a job, even though you're higher paid in a role, if it is more stressful or you find something that can be a little bit less stressful for you, it's worth the pay cut because what you get back in peace is invaluable. You know, and I don't know, I do know that sometimes for you being in the classroom was a little bit of warfare.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, it imagines your boss texting you, all right, I need you to cover 6th grade math today.
Yeah, no.
And you waking up at 6 a.m. and it's like, Jesus, like, and that's what it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that every day, different grades, different subjects, and it's just like...
But what I'll say is that I know, and we talk about this all the time, and I know I've seen you go through the ups and downs of being an educator. But honestly, Moo, there's a lot of people teaching. Some of them shouldn't be, but you should be. You should be because I can tell that through it all, you still have a heart to serve, a heart to nurture the children, and that's what's most important. And I think it's beautiful, the journey that you've taken to lead you here and how you just kept allowing the path to be laid out in front of you and going into it with the full heart. And I think it's yielded you benefits. I think it will continue to yield you benefits as you stick to it. So I mean,
God said,
yes.
Get my account.
God said your promotion is coming, girl. Okay. I don't know what. Listen, I'm not gonna play those games. I don't know what God said. Like, in Jesus' name, amen. We're gonna speak it into existence. No, but seriously, and you know how they say, like, this is a really, really important thing. You know how they say that don't chase money, chase passion, and money comes. Munira, chase that passion, girl. Chase that passion. It's coming. Right? Because who would have thought you'd be an instructional coach? You know?
Yeah, and I was trying to get up out of this. It's funny, like, you keep redrawing a new line in the sand. I'm like, okay, 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 6 years. And then at one point, to be honest, I was like, well, maybe we could teach for 10 years. But I was just distraught by my years not counting.
With the public service.
Yeah, because it's just like, that's unfair. I'm
president. Can we do something about it?
I'm serving. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my 10th year in a school.
It should be.
And I've been paying outside of the pandemic, you know, but like, that's just not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair.
So, but yeah, it's like my heart is in it. Kids are special. Like I said, just really having to really just ground yourself. Like I said, it's not about you. And like, we all have purpose and we're all connected. And like, there were people in my life and maybe clearly didn't see it when you were 12, 10, but that have helped you to just further develop you. And, you know, it's a pivotal time for middle schoolers. And it's kind of cool. Like, I definitely can tell, like, I've made some connections with some of them and I've dropped some gems. But I think even through my years, like, my biggest thing is, like, I try to be just a lot more respectful and just try to hear them out. You know, I think sometimes as an adult, you can just... Like, that's not how I even go into the classroom. It's like, I'm Miss Spiller. Yeah. You know, I got you know, here are my boundaries, and let's just respect that. You know what I'm saying? And let's make sure everybody is safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo. Fire. What I would say, Moo, is I keep calling you Moo, and I want everybody to know that is a nickname. Please do not call her Moo. If you don't know her like that, her name is Munira. Please. It's been a long time. It rolls off my tongue. Yeah, please. Fine. This is Munira. Miss Spiller to y'all. Miss Spiller to y'all. But I just want to say that I think that first of all, thank you for your vulnerability. But I
didn't cry.
You didn't cry. But no, what I really want to say is that I think the biggest thing when we talk about in terms of journey and finding where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like, even though, you're like, okay, the money not there yet. I think you've gotten the most important piece, which is finding a place where you can really put your heart in your work. And that is a really, really essential piece of finding where we're supposed to be. Because you can get money from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You could go work at Facebook today.
Oh, they hiring.
Right? But that's somebody, they need an instructional coach. How to help? You can get 100,000, and so many people have. I even, from personal experience, there's been times where I've had a salary, and I was like, I'm making more money than I've ever had, but I do not want to go to work tomorrow. And so what I'm trying to hope, what I hope you get, and anybody else who needs it gets, is that what you have, and when you find work that you can get up in the morning and feel proud to do or feel energy to do.
That's good.
Even,
That's good.
that's a true blessing and it's a treasure. And you should hold on to it in one way or another. Not saying you have to stay at this school or stay in this role, but just hold on to what lights your fire. And right now it's looking like education, teaching is lighting a fire for you. So the money's coming. And never sacrifice what you love for what you already know. But for anybody considering, stick with your passion. Don't sacrifice the things you love and you care about for money, because money's not everything. But it is a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
Because we do want to go to Dubai. We want to go to Dubai.
I want to be debt free. That's why I want to be debt free.
We want to go to Dubai. And so money's important, but there's a balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I agree. That was good.
So yeah. Munira, thank you for sharing all of that. You have said a lot. No, honestly, and this has been a very productive conversation. I think everybody talks about teachers and and they're always like a hot topic when we talk about the workforce. But seriously, it is such an important role, such an important piece of our community and an integral piece of our society and the way we continue to function. So it's a you're unsung hero, but I'm sure everyone can agree with me in saying thank you for the work that you do and the service that you do for tons of kids all the time over 2 years. So thank you, Moo. This has been the Girl Connect. I will link any information that Munira wants to share in the comments. And thank you for tuning in. Bye.